Well, the truth is, when I first approached Simon and Schuster with the bones of this idea 7 years ago, it didn't sell to them. And in a way that then meant I was released from my contract, because you have the onus to present your book to the same publisher who's done your last. They said no to the Miami book I'd proposed. I then went to, I think, 5 other publishers and they all said no. And I didn't know what I was doing wrong, because I kind of knew I had this amazing idea. What I had presented was different from this book. It was a much broader book about Miami. It was covering 5 years, not one. It was a much messier book that had everything in it, from a run to a college football championship to alligator wrestling in the Everglades. You name it, it was in this book, and I couldn't sell it. And then I narrowed what I really wanted to do down to the current book that did get published. I took it out to exactly the same group of people, maybe a few more, and almost everybody bid on it. It was bizarre. And I do think one thing that had happened in between those 2 visits, when my agent goes out with a book, was that Miami was being seen in a different light, not me. Miami had sort of grown up in New York's eyes. And this is the oddest thing about living in Miami, is that it's generally disrespected by other American cities, and yet really well respected outside of the United States. So, you go south, everyone, knows everything about Miami, and it's sort of city on a hill, even though there are no hills in sight. But it's also really well respected in Europe. And the oddest thing for me, when I was pushing my previous book, which was most of it was set in China and Hong Kong, I'd gone out to China and Hong Kong to push the book. And I was sort of almost apologetic that I'd moved from New York, which everyone obviously understood very well, to Miami, which I didn't think anyone in Asia would really have a clue about. And I started trying to sort of mansplain Miami to a group of Chinese. And most of them had investments in Miami. So again, I was sort of confronted with this idea that, guess what, from abroad, we're kind of a big deal down here. But within America, we're still very much cocaine and bikinis. But we've got a lot more complex stories to tell than people give us credit for, and we're just a really young city that's still, I wouldn't say misunderstood, because it's not understood in the first place, and that's part of the battle that I'm trying to wage.